Hey everyone, and welcome to Side Quest, the shit we record when Drew gets sick of DMing us. My name is Rick Gualtieri, and I'm here today with Drew Hayes, Robert Bevan, and our special guest, author DM Gay. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
I guess I should have done more of a spooky thing or something, but whatever. Get on the Patreon, download our Tournament of Terror. That's where you get spooky, Rick.
You got to commit, Rick. You got to live the bits. So I greet everyone during October. My neighbors are not amused.
I can only imagine your neighbors just period. Well, tonight we have a special treat. We have a horror comedy writer DM Gay with us. So
Put me on the spot.
100%, because otherwise we got to talk.
Well, as I was going to tell you when we were talking on Twitter, I was like, thank God that you invited me to do this, because I was plumbing the depths of my movie cabinet, and I have reached the point in quarantine where I am really getting the drags out of the VHS tapes. So I found my VHS copy of Vampire Hookers that I bought when a video store went out of business. So that was going to be tonight's entertainment. And thank God you guys came along and spared me from that giant turd. So
Wait till the show's over before you make that assessment.
okay.
Vampire Hookers might start looking pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Okay.
give it about 10 minutes and you'll be like, maybe I should have gone with the hookers.
Maybe. It's always a solid choice.
So it sounds like you're an enthusiast of scary movies and perhaps the spooky season in general.
Yes. I have a black heart, black glitter. So, as I mentioned before, I have been to a 24-hour horror movie festival every weekend in October since 1992. So I'm like that weird guy that's probably seen like thousands and thousands of really, really bad, like fantastically bad horror movies. And it's like this very embarrassing fact about myself and makes me completely like incapable of talking with or dealing with normal people, because in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking like of these horrific monster movies. And so anyway, yes, huge fan, big geek, black glitter heart. So yes, my house is that house in the neighborhood, covered in giant plastic skeletons and cobwebs, and all of the kids and the cars slow down as they drive by. So
Did you get one of the big Home Depot 12-foot skeletons?
Oh my God, I tried so hard to get that skeleton. Like the second I found out it was for sale, I was like on that website. And then of course they were all on eBay for like $600. And I'm like, I want it, but do I want it $600 worth? So I had to think about it. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. And I'm kind of regretting it. But then I'm thinking, where do you put it the rest of the year? Like maybe I could just like have it in my backyard, like by the fire pit, like, holding
100%.
drinks
You
or
should, like,
something,
make it guard your back gate.
Yeah, I feel like it should be over, like, the back of the house looking up, like, so you can just see the skeleton, like, from the street, like, just all year
Like
round.
peeking out.
Yeah.
Put a Santa hat on it later. Some bunny ears.
Well, I do have some skeletons that do stay out year round, and they do get dressed up for holidays, so, but
There
they're
you
just like
go.
the 5-foot posable skeletons, so.
Sounds like they need a god to pray to.
Yeah, I feel like there's infinite, like, decorating potential with that 12-foot skeleton, but
Right?
I'm gonna try to find one. I haven't given up yet, so.
Nor should you.
Yeah, and if anybody gives you shit and be like, screw you, Craig, I don't say anything about your Confederate flag.
Oh.
So before we, I guess, get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What you write and such, because it's rare for us to find somebody in the horror comedy category who actually writes horror comedy.
Oh. I write the 24/7 Demon Mart series, which is inspired by my time working the graveyard shift at a 24-hour convenience store in Portland, Oregon in the mid-90s, which was, comedy gold enough. But then, why not add some monsters? The beer cave is the portal to hell in the 24/7 Demon Mart series. So it's actually very similar to working in the graveyard shift at that convenience store, but more tentacles. So
I hear you. I used to work at a liquor store when I was in college, although
oh my gosh, did you get like crazy late night customers? Like were you open 24 hours like a beer cave?
We weren't open 24 hours, but we had our regulars who were the people who pretty much like slept behind the store.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I had a lot of people buy 40s, like in pennies, you know.
Yeah, we had one guy. He was a regular. His catchphrase was "Give me a pint of the cheapest you got."
Oh yeah. Yeah, that surprises me not at all. So did you get any like weird stalkery customers like as a dude working there? Because I was a chick working alone overnight, which now that I look back was probably a terrible idea. But I got some creepy peepers, man. Like I had this guy who called me every night and like try to have phone sex with me, and it was just nuts. Oh, yeah. Do you have any interesting regulars? Any stalkers?
Trust me, I had no stalkers. I wanted some stalkers.
Aw.
I hear you. I delivered pizza for 5 years. Didn't get to
Oh.
fuck anybody.
What? No phone sex from the pizza delivery? Like, isn't there like a whole bad 80s movie about that? Like Sexy Pizza Guy, Lover
Hey?
Boy or something, like order the anchovies.
Yeah, and there's a gazillion porns about it, but I'm telling you, it's not
Sounds
true.
like-
I was thin and had hair.
Really? So the pornos are not accurate, is what you're telling me. There's no pizza guy.
For 5 years, I stuck my dick through a pizza box, and not a
Did you know mozzarella burns? Mozzarella
Aw.
burns.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those pizzas are hot. You gotta let them cool. Wow, so I'm the only one who had naughty stories. I mean, the guy who wanted to have phone sex with me was kind of gross, so it wasn't like, a good story.
But I think my best story was so there was this pizza place we used to go to that was like right across the street, and there was a cute girl working there, and her and I were like, we're flirting a bit. This was like, back when I was just starting college. And I was talking to her at one point, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be a sophomore, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna be a freshman, and I'm like, hey, that's great.
Oh, in high
And
school. Did you meet
yeah,
in high
yeah,
school?
yeah, that's the thing. The next time, her
Oh,
aunt
no.
pulled me aside, and her aunt was a scary lady, and she's like, when she said freshman, she meant high school freshman. So if you even think of trying it, I will fucking kill you.
Is the aunt like, hot? Like you could like work that cougar angle,
Oh
like,
no,
hey
no,
baby, I met
the
you.
aunt could
Like,
have broken me like a twig.
that's not a bad thing. Like in my opinion,
Yeah, like that's not necessarily a no.
Yeah, that's not a no. I'm not hearing no.
Rick's got a creepy stalker story. It's just from the other side.
Aw. Did you sleep on a girl's porch and like leave beer bottles and cigarettes that she found when she woke up in the morning? Because I had one of those.
I would like a slice to go.
A slice. Yes.
Didn't you just order one 5 minutes ago? I'd like another slice.
I don't think I've ever had any creepy star. I mean, I got hit on sometimes, but it was, I don't know, it wasn't really bothersome to me.
He's like,
especially
because I'm so gorgeous, the ladies couldn't resist me. That's what he said.
yeah, a
right
little
there.
bit. But I'm trying to think. Oh God, I had one that was off-putting and I lost it. Damn.
You forgot your epic stalker tale?
Yes.
What?
Okay, I remember now. I had a table come like flirt, leave number, tried to Facebook me. This was in like the early days of Facebook when it was college only, and I was like, okay, well, this is I don't mind the attention. She was a good-looking lady, and so there was no necessary issue. And then I just started seeing her right around my apartment like all the time, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then eventually I found out, it was like, oh no, she just lives literally one building over from me.
So you thought you were getting stalked, but you weren't?
No, it was just
Were your
just
feelings a little bit
happenstance.
hurt after that? Like, oh,
I mean, she did still hit on me, so it's not like I lost the compliments.
all right, yeah.
For you to confront her, be like, "Why are you here? You're here. You're freaking me out." I live right here. I live right
Look,
next
the fact
door.
that I kept talking to her when I thought she might have been stalking me enough to find out she lived a building over kind of shows the level of judgment College Drew was working with.
Wow.
Yeah, Drew's thinking there. It's like, well, might come home and find my rabbit boiling. But on the other hand, rabbit stew is kind of tasty. And
Look, when you're 21 and someone's good looking, you're willing to overlook a lot of red flags, even imaginary ones, as it turns out.
That is true.
I can't deny that one. But we're not here to talk about dating horror stories so much as I guess actual horror stories because, well, we are roughly a week and a half away from I know it's my favorite holiday, but Halloween.
Yay! Yes, I love Halloween. Now, every year, I live down the street from a school, and every year in normal school years, I would, on Halloween morning or trick or treat day, whichever one it was, I would go out into my driveway while the school buses were going by, like dressed in a costume and like wave at the kids. And then last year, I'm all like in my Creature from the Black Lagoon phase. So I bought this awesome like rubber mask that looks like just like the one from the movie. So I put it on and I go out in the driveway and I'm like start waving to the bus. And then I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like super dizzy and I realize there's like no air holes in there. And I swear, like I almost passed out in the gutter, like and died, like in a Creature from the Black Lagoon, like rubber mask because there's like two little tiny air slits. I'm like, the poor kids, they almost watched me die, dressed like a sea monster.
Yeah, I have an Alien versus Predator mask that's like that, and I wore it one year, and I refused to take it off because once I'm in character, I stay in character. But I realized that a couple times I was like, I'm getting a little woozy here.
Like, I'm gonna die. Oh my God, like seriously, poor design. Yeah, because I almost bought one of those Godzilla ones. It looks like the old Toho like Godzilla rubber mask because you can buy one so you just look like you have a rubber Godzilla head. But then I'm like, what if I suffocate and die in there because I'm too stubborn to take it off? Like this is a challenge, you know?
It
When
would
you're
be an
dedicated to
awesome.
Halloween, you can die in your costume.
No, once I start sweating or want to take a sip of beer, the mask comes off.
That's why they made straws.
Yeah, I used to do a big elaborate mask with like spirit gum and stuff, and I would always sweat it off every time. I'm just an oily guy, and finally I was just like, fuck it,
You
no
sweat off
masks.
spirit gum? I think that's impossible.
Oh,
The trick is you got to pick up medical adhesive. That stuff will stick. Spirit gum sucks.
Well, spoken like a true expert.
Yeah, I've done that before where it's like I am gonna glue the fuck out of this thing to my face, and then you get a little warm, and suddenly it's like just falls off, and it's just like, damn it! I spent 6 hours putting that on.
Mm. That's always the peril of any Wolfman costume, you know, because you got to glue on the facial hair. I mean, if you're me, you do. Uh,
whatever you eat, whatever you drink, you're getting hair along with it every
mhm.
time.
Yeah.
The reason I stopped wearing contacts because I used to wear contacts, and then I did I went as kind of a scary clown one year, and I got the makeup a little too close to my eye, and they got encrusted in there. And that was freaky trying to pull out crusty contacts from my eyeballs.
Oh God. Yeah, that sounds awful. Well, do you guys remember speaking of Halloween and like I'm thinking of the holiday specials, like the Rudolph and all the Puppetoon holiday movies they used to play. When I was
Yeah.
young, they would play Mad Monster Party. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And it was the
What?
Halloween themed Puppetoon movie by the Rankin and Bass people that did, the Rudolph and all those Christmas ones.
Rankin and Bass made a Halloween special.
Oh, hell
About that?
yes. And it's called Mad Monster Party. It's like from the late 1960s. And it's actually Boris Karloff's last appearance as Frankenstein in any film because he plays Dr. Frankenstein in this. So, and Phyllis
my
Diller is in it as like the bride of Frankenstein. I mean, it's a total turd. But for a long time, I thought that I was making it up in my head because I remember seeing it on television when I was a kid and then it disappeared. And, I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know anything. But then I finally found a DVD copy and I was like, I did not make it up. I am not crazy.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
I mean, it's an epic turd. There's a reason they don't play it anymore, but it's kind of like, monster classic. So,
Oh, I've added it to my watch list. The Christmas Rankin and Bass is creepy enough. I can't imagine what they do when they're trying.
Santa is such a dick in those. Santa is a total dickhead. Like, ugh, he's like judgmental, like, oh, you look weird, so you can't be part of my team. No
But
weirdos
Rudolph,
here. What a
you're a
message is that
freak.
for kids, Yeah, so Mad Monster Party, also a musical. So, you've got Phyllis Diller singing. So, that's worth it. And there's a band made out of skeletons. They're like a skeleton band, and it's like the 60s. So they've all got those bad, like, mod, like, Beatle haircuts. They do, like, in Beatle boots and do, like, a musical number that's, like, supposed to be all, like, hip and mod for the kids, circa, like, 1967. So, yeah, must watch.
I remember that from a kid. I don't know why they stopped. I mean, yeah, it wasn't good, but that doesn't stop them from ever playing anything else that they play every year. So
Yeah, yeah. Since they're not playing Peanuts Halloween this year, so you can put that on your watch list instead.
yeah, apparently they're moving all the Peanuts stuff to what is it, Netflix or
Apple TV.
Apple TV.
Ah,
So sad.
Well, not for me. I got rid of cable TV a couple months back, so I don't care. But
It is surprising we don't have more Halloween specials. Like, there's a ton of Halloween episodes of stuff, and of course we have like Treehouse of Horror, but compared to Christmas, which has just an ass load of specials, I feel like Halloween gets shortchanged.
It's the shaft.
Yeah.
Yes. I would agree with that because I'm having trouble coming up with another one that's a dedicated Halloween special.
Hey, you could go to like TV movies like Halloween Town, that kind of thing, that harken back to childhood, but that's kind of its own thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a Grinch Halloween special. It didn't last very long on television. It's like Halloween Grinch Night or something.
Oh, I think I've caught that once or twice.
Another turd, but hey, I'll take it if it's Halloween wrapped in a turd. I'll take it. Whatever.
Throw a turd in a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. Anything Halloween, I'll buy it. I'll watch it. I'm that guy. I'm dedicated.
So it sounds like decorating in movies are a big staple of your Halloween activities. Are there any other traditions or stuff that you love to, indulge in with the season upon us?
I don't know. I do all the normal things. As I said, the 24-hour horror movie festival every year for all these years, and it's canceled this year. Boo! Kick in the teeth. And then decorating the house, and then I'm the best house for trick or treat. I'm the undiscovered gem. I'm like that guy that gives out full-size candy, like epic.
Oh,
I'm the
that's
full-size
legit.
candy bar house, and I sync up the music with the fog machine and the lights for trick or treat, so it's like monster mashing. I have like 4 CDs of dedicated like Halloween music because there was a phase like in the 60s where all these like weird bands like tried to like replicate the Monster Mash success, like with that song The Monster Mash, and did like bad ripoffs of monster themed songs. And yeah, so there's like thousands of those songs out there. So we just have them like on one disc and we sync up our music and then we dial them up for trick or treat. And the kids are like, like, holy shit, like they've got good candy, but they're nuts. And there's like monster sounds. And why is this lady dressed up like this? And so they're a little scared to come over, but they make it because I have the good candy and the funny songs. So
I have people who won't even, just because like they won't even try for the candy. There's this family maybe three
they do
doors
the
down.
scary, like super duper creepy chainsaw Halloween.
Oh no. They have a little daughter, and every year every year they walk past for like trick or treating, and every year she kind of looks at whatever I'm doing and just kind of shakes her head and like, nope, don't need it that bad.
Aw. Are you the scary Halloween house? Because I try to have a balance because I am down the street from an elementary school, so I try to like keep it medium, like just scary
Yeah.
enough to be fun.
I have never held back.
Okay.
Yeah, my thing has always been like we used to do a haunted house here in our basement every year. And I used to send kids home crying every year, and it was my favorite thing because, and you know what, I'd get the angry parents be like, "Oh, my kid had nightmares
Feed off
for a
of their
week."
tears.
But as I was explaining to them, I'm like, "Here's the thing." I was like, "Your kid was never in any danger. All of it's fake, so it's really all in their mind." And I would tell the parents, and with of course like the smug grin on my face, I'd be like, "I guarantee next year." It's like this year they're having nightmares. Next year they're going to be the first one in line asking to come back.
Oh, that's totally true. It's fun to be scared,
Yeah.
And especially when you're little. I mean, kids are excellent with horror, I feel. Like, you don't need to censor that. Like, kids know how little and vulnerable they are, so they feel horror acutely in a way adults don't always. So
Not
I
in
feel
my
like they
household.
get it on a visceral level,
My kids I kind of raised to be kind of freaks, if you will. We
Oh my
were
God. Are
those
you a
parents
horror
who would
parent?
we were those parents who would take them into Party City in the little stroller. They'd be like 1 year old, and then we'd put on the most horrific mask we can, and then jump out like to see if we could get a rise out of them.
Oh,
And after a while, you desensitize them out of that.
Yeah, I had a horror mom, so that was a thing. Like, I remember watching the Salem's Lot TV special on television, and then as soon as it got dark, my mom, she put us to bed, and then she went outside to our bedroom window, and she reenacted that like Danny Glick, like open the window, like that's horrible, like horrific scene.
That is awesome.
And my sister jumped on my bed, and we were screaming like ah! And my mom like just was laughing so hard that like no sound was coming, like I'm like, so that's the kind of child that I have. So there's no, there's a reason that I am the way that I am. But I had a horror mom. Yeah.
I dig your
So,
mom.
oh yeah, she's awesome. Like every like zombie movie, every new thing, like we go like opening weekend at the theater, and every time like there's some like, teenage guys who are like, is that your mom? She's like here like because she thinks it's fun. I'm like, yeah, like one time they were even like chanting zombie mom, like zombie mom, like in the theater because they were like so amped that like my mom, who was a mild-mannered Catholic school teacher and has her little like Midwestern mom hair helmet and her puffy paint snowman sweatshirt, you would never guess that she like is programmed for horror and the dark side on the inside from looking at her, but she goes and she loves it and oh, I just love it when their head gets pulled off like that. Like, oh, did you see that part in the movie? What'd you think? Like, she's the sweetest. Like, but she's programmed for the dark side, man. I'll never forget that Salem's Lot night. Like, I was terrified. And she would drag me along to all kinds of like stuff, like all kinds of movies that were wildly like R-rated when I was way young, like Poltergeist and oh, thank God I had an older sister and I wasn't around yet, but she took my sister to see like The Exorcist like in the theater and I think my sister was like 5, like she's still not the same. Like and she's like, "What? There's lots of barf. That's funny, you know?" Oh, so yeah. Be a horror parent, man.
Oh.
It's character building.
I love that.
Yeah, I've got a zombie mom. She's awesome.
You guys do a lot of haunted houses?
Ohio has like I think more haunted houses like per capita than any other place. I think we've got like 100 of them, including some in like an old prison called like the Mansfield Reformatory. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. So yeah, we've got like haunted prison, kind of like haunted houses around here. I haven't gone to any this year, but
If you go to Philadelphia, they have Eastern State Penitentiary. We used to
yeah.
go there a lot.
Sounds awesome. This year they're doing a lot of drive-through ones. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
like-
the same.
Yeah, because you're nice and safe in your car, I don't know.
I mean, the upside is we did one 2 weeks ago, and rather than charge per the person, they charged per the car, so it was infinitely cheaper. But I mean, yeah, you lose a lot when you're just in your own car.
And you can just roll up the window, to get away from the killer. Like that's what everybody wants in a horror movie, right? They want a getaway car. You're in the getaway car. What fun is that?
Well, also the thing is, you're less concerned with getting scared because if the last thing you want to do is get scared and then run somebody over.
Oh yeah, like boom. Nobody wants to be that guy. Aw. Poor guy was just making some money as the wolf man, and now he's under my tire. Oh.
The good news is we killed the zombie. The bad news, he wasn't really a zombie.
Yeah.
These aren't silver tires, man. Get up.
The struggle is real.
So what's different this year? I mean, obviously everything's different in 2020, but specifically, like for everybody, like what are you finding that's going to be different for Halloween under pandemic?
Well, normally the Saturday of Halloween, I would go to some big like costume ball, but that has unfortunately been canceled, and that sucks because I think this Halloween is the full moon on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's gonna rule as a Halloween.
I'm still gonna do something. I don't know what. I'm like, I may just be out in the backyard, like naked around a bonfire, chanting, covered in carry blood, or something, because I feel like I need to mark the occasion. Or I could just be, on the sofa watching bad movies with popcorn. But keeping my options open. I feel like I need to do something because it's a Saturday and a full moon and Halloween. And because 2020 has been a turd, we have to celebrate the holidays bigger and better because of that, I just haven't figured out what yet. So if you have ideas, I'm all ears.
I feel good about having kids because now it's okay to be lame when Halloween's on a Saturday.
The uncertainty is definitely a change up. Like I bought some candy today, but I made sure to buy only stuff I like because I genuinely don't know. Yeah, like I don't know if they're gonna do it. I don't know if they're gonna try to do it, and it's gonna be like movie theaters and Halloween happens, but nobody goes, or like so. It's such a toss up.
Well, if there's any bright spot to all of this, the drive-ins are totally rocking it this fall. I don't know if you guys have any drive-in theaters around you, but ours have been playing nothing but like old horror movie double features, and it's been fantastic. So that's like a bright spot. Like I got to see the original Halloween at the drive-in and the original Evil Dead with Evil Dead 2.
Damn.
And then this week they're playing Halloween and Friday the 13th double feature on Friday. So I was like, the drive-ins have really upped their game, and it's been fantastic. So, and everybody else out there watching like vintage Halloween, on a Friday night is a horror geek. So they're all your people, Everybody's cracking jokes and dialing up the stereos, and it's been great. So that's a bright spot. But what kind of candy did you get? Like, what's your secret shame candy that you like secret eat, like hiding in the bathroom?
Oh, man.
Eating a whole bag.
I don't
What is it?
I don't know if I have shame about it so much as just
Oh, there's no shame.
just like
Okay.
an
Just secret eating.
acceptance of like, well, back again, fuck up, huh? You know.
Like once you open that bag, man, once you pop the seal, there's no going back. You just every time you go by, you're like, oh, it's just fun size. I'll just have one more.
There's a lot I
Fun
like,
size.
but I think a take 5, I will just fuck up a bag of those without thinking about it. The peanut butter pretzel,
Is that like a peanut butter chocolate?
chocolate
Okay,
and
yeah.
pretzel,
Mm,
which I do
mm-hmm.
like, and 100 grand is my other one. The crispy with that
Oh,
big ass
100 grand are
caramel in the middle.
so doesn't Reese make those take fives?
Reese's also has take 5. I think they used to be their own thing, and now they're Reese's take 5s.
Okay, because I have to say the Reese's peanut butter pumpkins and bats are way better than regular Reese's. I mean, you can fist fight me on this, but I'm willing to die on this hill. I feel like once they put them in those bat and pumpkin shapes for Halloween, it's like the perfect ratio of chocolate to peanut butter. Like, hello.
I'm with you that
Oh
like
my God.
standard Reese's is not the perfect ratio. If you want one out of season, and this is going to be sacrilege to so many people, but the Reese's Thins are the best non-seasonal Reese's because the ratio of chocolate to peanut butter is perfect.
You can use those on s'mores. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Up your game.
Oh, that. Holy shit.
Yes. Yeah, did I just totally blow your mind?
Oh,
yes.
and diet.
Mm-hmm. What, isn't everybody like, 800 pounds by now? Come on, I can't be the only one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the quarantine quarter hundred.
Yeah. Quarantine 250. I'm there,
I'm gonna be going out this weekend to get some PVC to build a candy chute. So my plan is to kind of like rope off with caution tape the front of my stairs to kind of like say, hey, don't come near me.
Mhm.
But
Open your bag and I'll shoot this thing down the chute at you. That's awesome.
exactly. And I'm thinking about, along with the candy, maybe getting something horrific to shoot down there with them. Maybe I could find some like toy cockroaches or something. Because why
An
not?
entire drawer full of toy cockroaches. That's like my secret weird shame. I have rubber ones and I have like ones that like are battery operated that like scuttle across the floor.
I love the image of someone just like looking for batteries or something at your house and just pulling open the fake
and they're like,
cockroach.
"Ah!" Yeah. Horror mom has screamed a few times when she's been in the junk drawer, like, a roach. I'm like, it's fake, mom. She's like, why do you have these? I'm like, A, because it's funny, and I'm paying you back for Salem's Lot with the screams while you're getting your pencils. And B, like in Demon Mart, the night manager is a cockroach named Kevin. And for some reason I thought, oh my God, I have this drawer full of roaches. So I've been like secretly taking pictures of quote Kevin, like around town, like with these cockroaches. Because one day he will have, I don't know, I'll do something with him. Like, I don't know. Maybe like a Burt Reynolds photo shoot where, he's nude on the rug. You remember that from Playgirl? The Burt Reynolds Playgirl, only with a cockroach. I don't know. The ideas are coming to me, Kevin the cockroach pinup calendar. It could happen. I'm not saying no. So yes.
I mean, the real question is, can you get a mustache that luxurious on a cockroach?
Well, I mean, I probably could buy like one. I mean, I don't know if he can grow it himself. So
I think they've got those like mandible things with like the hairs on them that I think you can get close.
yeah, like there has to be some sort of stage quality mustache for luxurious mustaching. I mean, I don't know.
Sit the roach down, make him watch Smokey and the Bandit 100 times. The mustache will take care of itself.
Yes. Yes.
I like that, a cockroach with a porno stash.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd have to get the rug though. I mean, the bearskin rug. That's
Oh,
gotta have that, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Rick, what was your shame candy?
What was my what?
Your shame candy.
Oh,
or your.
I'm like you. There's no shame in it, and 100 grand is definitely on there. Though those are the ones you pull out and like give the kids almond joy and just watch their faces crinkle up. It's great. But I will say,
well, they're screaming because they're like food allergies.
I'll say probably Swedish fish.
Almonds, he's trying to kill me. The man with the haunted house and the chainsaws trying to kill me with the almond joy. Halloween 2020.
Swedish fish.
Swedish fish are awesome.
I'm a fan of Swedish fish. Yes.
Not my
They come in
go-to gummy, but I get it.
Well, I also like the little fun-sized Sour Patch Kids.
Oh,
But you eat too many of those, you can feel them like eating through the roof of your mouth.
I do like a sour gummy. I like a sour and a sweet. That's a strong pairing.
Oh, those watermelon sour gummies
Oh.
that look like little watermelon wedgies. Yeah, that's perfect salt and sweet. Those are good for movies.
And then you can have to like fight with yourself to be like, I want to bite this, but I also want to suck it until it becomes sweet. Just me.
Oh, we were just kind of waiting for Bob, giving him the window.
Yeah, I was gonna come up with something, but no, I got my dick got
Speaking of dick, what's your go-to candy?
I don't know, for candy bars I like a Butterfinger. Otherwise I like straight up gummy bears. I don't get them very often because yeah, it would be shameful for me to eat a bag of fucking gummy bears. But if I do take the kids to the frozen yogurt shop, I'll put in a bit of yogurt because that's what you do. But I'll load that shit up with the gummy bear toppings because that's what I
Dude, that's
really
like
want.
super expensive. You're gonna go bankrupt. They charge like by the ounce, and those gummy bears are heavy.
Well, that's when I eat my gummy bears.
I feel like it's worth it.
I was gonna say you shouldn't have any shame. You should get one of those big like 5-pound bags of gummy bears and sit down in front of your kids and be like, I can eat this because I'm an adult who pays his taxes.
No, I do that with beer.
Now I just kind of want to, next time we have an A&D con, see about bringing one of those gigantic like 10-pound gummy bears.
Okay.
As long as it's real sugar, because I heard the sugar-free ones come back to haunt you not too long after.
3 years ago for my birthday, my wife got me a 25-pound gummy anaconda. And I still have about 5 pounds of it in my freezer.
Oh my God.
Speaking of weird,
just
none of that appeals to me. Wow. Part of the appeal of the gummy bear is the size of it.
The awesome thing about this snake is
I don't want to chew into some fucking giant gelatin monster. I want,
like, it's big enough to cut into steaks.
I don't want to do that.
I gotta say, there have been days where I've been jonesing for candy so much that I pulled out a hunk of dead gummy snake and just sliced off, a gummy steak from it and just sat there on the couch with
throw it on the grill.
Oh, do you have to thaw it first? I have like so many questions.
Oh man.
Little barbecue sauce.
Yeah, you think my drawer full of roaches is weird? Like, they open your freezer and you've got like a giant snake in there.
Just a gummy head of a snake, fangs extended.
I have been purposely saving the head for last just because I like that imagery when you open it up and there's just this like 5-pound snake head just sitting there.
Oh, now I feel like I'm back in Louisiana.
Oh God, yeah.
If that's good eating.
I mean, yeah, snake is fucking good when it's cooked right. I think people have a bad impression of like snake and gator because it's very easy to overcook, and overcooked it's not great.
I love alligator. It's fantastic.
I like it too, but it's a lot of the times when you get it out, it's like overcooked in kind of the chewy gumminess. And I get, if you've never had the good version, I can understand not appreciating it. But they don't put it in candy. Well, they might. Fuck, what do I know? Would I buy gator candy? Yes, of course.
They probably make gator candy. I feel like that's a thing.
Gotta
have
be
a gator pop.
I bet if you go down to Fouchon, you can get some gator candy.
Oh, yeah.
There's a deep
a
cut
lollipop
shot
with like a gator eyeball in the middle of it.
Caramel dipped gator claws.
I want to ask the inverse question of the love candy. What's the candy that you're like, aside from like the obvious circus peanuts, off flavored Tootsie Rolls? What's the standard, like, it's not well hated, but it's a candy that as soon as you get it in your trick or treat bag, you're like, that motherfucker's going in the trade pile?
Snickers, and I know that will bring ire because people love Snickers. It's a good candy bar, just not the candy bar for me. I do not believe in nuts in food, like not in American food, because we just don't do a good job of it. Nuts in Asian food all day long, but not in American food, and that includes Snickers. So Snickers, those always get traded.
That's a bold one,
I'm
but
kind of with you there.
it's strong Halloween currency to be trading out. You can get some good shit for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some Milky Ways back, or like something like that.
That's an easy trade, honestly, because for most folks, that's the downgrade.
Mm-hmm. Pays to be the weirdo, you know.
For some reason, peanuts just strike me as like, I don't mind a Snickers. I will eat a Snickers, but I'll take a Milky Way over a Snickers any day of the week.
Yeah, that's right. You feel me? Peanuts, they're like weird. They're like liars, like lying food. Because like, oh, you're a nut, but you're not really a nut, are you? You're a fucking legume. Okay, you grow under the ground. You're not a nut. So it's a lie. It's a lie in your food. So fuck peanuts. That's all I have to say.
You know what's the downgrade? The downgrade is Three Musketeers because it's like
It wants to
okay,
be a Milky Way, but
yeah,
it's
it wants
not.
to be Milky Way, but it's too cheap for caramel.
Yeah, Three Musketeers is like, all right, let's make half of a real candy bar.
Musketeers. And I also don't mind being lied to.
I'm gonna say original, like actual flavor, not the weird offshoots, but the real deal. Tootsie Rolls. Just not a big fan.
I like Tootsie Rolls.
Well, Tootsie Roll is trying to be a chocolate flavored candy without actually being chocolate.
That's fine. Again.
So, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean,
It's like a ferret turd.
I'm not gonna count off points for artificiality when it comes to Halloween candy because I'm gonna start splitting a lot of hairs. I'm just not a fan. It does not, as you said with the Snickers, like I get the appeal, it just doesn't appeal to me.
Plus when you chew them, it like, I don't know about you, but it makes me like extra like, you know, salivate, like, and then you get that like ring of like chocolate, like saliva, like no matter how carefully you eat it, it just like mushes out. Like, I don't know. I have seen way too many people with that like Tootsie Roll mouth.
Oh yeah, that gunk in the
I don't
corners.
know. Yeah, like just, you know, because it's like gushing out. I don't know. Something wrong with
Love
there.
Tootsie Rolls. I even like those shitty like fruit flavored Tootsie Rolls and stuff.
See, we just need to trade Halloween candy with you because you like all the stuff that we don't like. So this works out great. Like if we're all trick or treating together, this is fine. Just me and Rick are gonna be fighting for those Milky Ways.
This is why you go trick or treating with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Friends who like different things, because we all have that one friend who like who's like give me your Mounds and Almond Joy, and it's like you can take that shit.
So did one of you recently watch the Godzilla versus King Kong 1960s movie? Did I see that on the Discord? Or am I imagining
we watched it as part of our channel A&D.
Oh my God! Like, why did you pick that one? Because you were like, yes.
Because you know why? It's awful, but it's fun.
Awfully good. Yeah. I'm thinking that the guy in that King Kong suit probably couldn't breathe either. It's like our predator and creature masks. You know, he was suffering.
I love the fact that for this movie they designed like such an awful King Kong costume that like even Party City would probably be embarrassed to sell it.
Oh yeah, they probably couldn't. Yeah, well, I don't know. They have King Kong in the title, so I don't think it was a rights issue. Like we're trying to make it not look like King Kong, but it's totally King Kong. Like
that does bring up an excellent topic. We touched on scary movies and your love for them earlier, but you know, at Authors and Dragons, we've done a fair share of bad, scary, but bad fun on A&D at the movies. In fact, we just had to rewatch Chopping Mall because
Chopping Mall, yes.
I think you might be the
I
only
love
person
Chopping
who's
Mall.
heard of that, and you're definitely the only one who would react positively.
Well, the little blonde chick, wasn't she also in Night of the Comet, which is like one of my all-time favorite like 80s movies? It's like teen coming of age / zombie / apocalypse, can't beat that.
Well, that's perfect.
So yeah, I think one of the chicks from Chopping Mall is also in Night of the Comet. So
well, I was gonna ask, what are some of your favorite of the bad, like they're bad, but you still enjoy watching them in the Chopping Mall sense?
Well, I find perverse joy in all terrible movies, and I kind of go in phases where, like right now, I'm going through. I did all the Universal monsters and all the classics, and then I've gone down this rabbit hole since I'm stuck at home a lot of all the worst and best kind of homage like remakes of all the Universal monsters, like Frankenstein, one of my personal favorite like quote inspired by is like Frankenhooker. Like I don't know if you've seen that. It's like from the 90s and so this guy like is an inventor, and he accidentally like chops up his girlfriend because he invented a self-mowing lawnmower, and of course in the first scene she gets like mowed over by it. And then he's like, oh my God, I love her. What am I going to do? It's my fault. And he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll invent this super crack rock, and then I'll go to New York City and I will kill some hookers, and then I will reassemble her. to be prettier and sexier and with more purple hair than she was before. So it is one of my all-time favorites and one of my go-to Halloween costumes, like when I'm not going to be the Bride of Frankenstein. It's like totally classic. So I don't know if you've seen that one. You guys are awfully quiet.
Just listening in rapt attention. I'm like, I apparently have to find this movie.
I mean, the lines for that are so great. Like one year, my lady friends and I, we all dressed up as Frankenhookers. So we were like a herd of Frankenhookers, and we just repeated the lines from the movies all night, never broke character. And it was like, want a date? Got any money? Looking for some action? Like just, yeah. So we were Frankenstein hookers, like, all over the city of Chicago. It was fantastic. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. So that just shows you how far down the rabbit hole I've gone. So, and then I'm like on this Creature from the Black Lagoon thing because I'm like on this sea monster kick because I just, my latest 24/7 Demon Mart was Critters from the Poo Lagoon. And it's kind of like my homage to all my favorite, creature feature kind of movies. So like Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Blob, Swamp Thing, like all of that. So I even watched Humanoids from the Deep, which I don't know if you've seen it, but I mean, it's really just an excuse to like put some guys in some bad fish monster costumes and have a bunch of like full nude naked ladies like screaming, like covered in like mud. I don't know. So yeah, I'm down the rabbit hole on those bad movies. So I really love them all. Like I will watch anything. Like if you like find some weird DVD like covered in dust in the back of some store, like I will totally watch it. Like
And that story is pretty much how Miami Connection came onto the scene, except with an 85 mil or a 35 millimeter. Wait,
yeah.
no, wait, that's a gun. What's the print?
Last time I picked up that Dulce DVD, the cop showed up at my house.
So what do you guys like?
Well,
Do you have a favorite creature feature or a favorite Universal Monsters spinoff? Like
I've been
the worst
working this
Dracula?
week through Amazon's pretty vast collection of shitty Bigfoot horror.
Oh yeah.
There's that's a deep rabbit hole. It's one of those where like you never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes you'll turn on what looks like a piece of shit and it's like, hey, it's actually pretty decent. Otherwise, sometimes you'll be like, wow, that is not a convincing gorilla costume at all.
I have not really explored the Amazon offering, surprisingly. Like people send me stuff. Like I have a bunch of horror geek friends and we mail each other DVDs like old school style. And I did find something on Amazon recently called Sharkenstein, since I'm on that Stein thing. And it was the most hilarious turd of a movie I have ever seen. Like every minute that shark was on screen was absolute gold. And it's just like how it sounds. It's about Nazis, of course, because Nazis are always the bad guy, who created a Frankenstein great white shark in order to take over the world. And the effects are so amazingly bad that it's like just like some like little like shark puppet with like little Frankenstein sutures and neck bolts, like a little puppet that just like comes and like across the screen, and then all of a sudden the people are gone. It's hilariously awesome.
Is this not brought up for Andy for it at the movies?
I don't believe so.
Maybe it should be.
Maybe it should. It sounds like
it was only like 99 cents or something, like when I bought it on Amazon. But I mean, I could not pass that by. And it's one of those things. It's like I like bad movies that know they're bad movies and embrace it and try to make the best of it. Like there's nothing worse than a movie that tries to take itself too seriously and then they just don't pull it off. I'm like, just if you're going to make a bad movie, just make a bad movie and embrace the ridiculousness of your concept and then make it fun, So Sharkenstein knows how ridiculous it is.
Last week I watched Helen Keller versus Night Wolves, which is pretty much that. They basically were just like, yeah, here's the untold story of Helen Keller, and yeah, we don't buy it either, but just sit back and watch this stupid thing.
Yeah, like embrace it. It's like that Velocipaster that's like been making the rounds in the the movie girls. It's like there's a scene where he like is just like growling and he's wearing like just like rubber dinosaur things, but he's rocking it. It's like just fucking yes, so much yes. Like he's in a rubber dinosaur costume fighting ninjas, and they filmed it at the park. Fuck yeah, that was $35,000 well spent. I'm all in on that. So
yeah, I think I missed it, but they did Velocipaster for at the movies, and I've seen it on my own and loved. Yeah, the passion makes such a big difference. Like I mentioned it in passing, but if we're going to talk about a bad movie, it's not a scary one, but real quick, like Miami Connection is so bad in so many levels and ways. and I love it because it is just a man's absolute passion project, and somehow
You
that.
said Miami Connection?
Oh
Did I
yeah.
hear you? I don't think I know what that is.
Oh man. So it's not a
It's not a horror movie?
it's not a horror movie, but it was just sort of in the vein. So it's a movie made in the 1980s by a guy named YK Kim, shot around Orlando with no permits. He was just really well liked, so people let him do it. Filled with actors from his Taekwondo school, and imagine if The Room also tried to do action and musical pieces and and like drama in a gigantic cast. And it debuted. It did terribly. It got shelved. The people at Alamo Drafthouse found it, started doing screenings. The drunks loved it. They bought the rights and started and like put it out, and now you can rent it on Amazon.
Hell yeah.
It is banana bread. But for scary movies, Leprechaun series is my go-to. Terrible.
God,
I love
epic.
Warwick Davis. He's so charming.
And you had a total crush on what's her head from Friends, Jennifer Aniston, because wasn't she in the first one?
I actually didn't see the first one until like way around. I like started in the middle of the series because the lore is very important. Oh yeah, they're
I
so
don't
bad.
know. Yeah, I don't know. I like bad.
Yeah.
You know, I like Chopping Mall. I like Night of the Comet. I like. Do you remember that movie, The Gate, from the '80s, and had those little naked weird minions that looked like piglets, and they came out of that hole in the backyard, and they were like,
Oh yeah, that was the one where they had the eyeball in the
yeah,
palm of his
eyeball in the hand.
hand.
Yeah, like there's just so much great stuff out there.
And that.
You could tell people just like really believed in their movie, even though they had no talent or budget to pull it off. And it's kind of great. Like one of my favorites is this one called "You're the Hunter from the Future," and the movie tries to be half Conan, half Star Wars, all batshit, and it's glorious.
I don't know. I saw Sharkenstein and I was like, you know what this girl needs for Christmas? A green screen, because I want to make my own creature feature if this is what it could look like, you know? It's got the wheels turning. So which one of y'all wants to be Conan in my movie?
I feel like that's a Joe. That's a Joe
Yeah,
role.
we'll volunteer Joe for that.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're not doing you bad. That's the right guy for the job. That's the guy who does a lot of working out specifically with swords.
Yeah, the rest of us are more like Conut.
Like you remember the scene in Conan where he's just lazy and drunk and they capture him easily because of how fucked up he is? That's more the rest of us.
With the scattered remains of Halloween candies around you on your throne. Just the wrappers, you know?
Me face down in a bowl of Swedish fish.
Oh, you could totally rock the Conan with that giant gummy snake in your freezer. I mean, now we found a use for it, right? We could buy more and use them as props. We have a reason now.
You could be the Gummy Beastmaster.
Oh my God, I love Beastmaster. That's like still one of my all-time favorite movies. Oh,
They're ferrets. They're thieves.
I love Beastmaster.
Oh, I do, but man, every time I watch it, you just look at that tiger that they clearly painted with house paint. It's just like, ugh. Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Okay, well, yeah, there's that.
I mean, it's the same tiger. It was clearly fine throughout the filming, but it's just like, who had to paint that tiger with a brush?
Yeah, those white things that look like bats, those guys, and they like would wrap their little bat arms around you and digest you. I mean, that was legit, like interesting monster.
Yeah.
It was something different, you know? So you got to give some credit where credit's due.
That whole movie was its own thing. Like from the cow weird birth, like in the opening, like they were swinging for some fences.
Has that been remade, or like is there a series or something? I feel like there's more entries in the Beastmaster.
There's a sequel, and it is horror. He goes forward in time.
Oh,
he pulls
really?
a Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe, actually, that's a good example because it's a terrible movie. But I think like I was reading the thing with like Frank Langella is just like, screw it. I'm just gonna have so much fucking fun with this movie. I don't care.
Wasn't Dolph Lundgren in that movie?
Yes, he was He-Man. And
Oh,
they ran out of money, so he got to do his own line. But Frank Langella does crush it in that movie. Like whatever else you can say about it, like he came to earn his fucking paycheck.
I feel like he crushes everything that he does. Like what wasn't he like the Dracula in that like late 70s like sexy Dracula like reboot? Or am I totally imagining that if I have the wrong guy?
You have the right guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those actors. He shows up to like bring his A game.
Yeah, with his sweet, sweet hair while he still had it. Yeah.
And it's like so great when an actor like that brings that like, that gravitas to an otherwise shit movie.
He's like, this is a turd, but I'm not going to be the turd in the turd. Like my parts of the movie are going to be good.
It is funny because it makes the rest of the movie look so much worse in comparison because you do have Frank Langella just like crushing it every other scene. It's like, oh, that's what acting is.
Maybe Frank just like needed a new roof or something. I mean, famous actors need groceries too, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm looking at this Vampire Hookers DVD or VHS, and it's like John Carradine. Like, really? John Carradine is the star of Vampire Hookers, which was made in the Philippines, I think, like on a home movie camcorder, like in the 1970s. And it is, I mean, really, what was he thinking? He was thinking, I need groceries. I got to pay some bills. Like, I don't know if you guys are Adrienne Barbeau fans, but I'm a huge Adrienne Barbeau fan. So I read her autobiography, which was amazing. And she says, like in the book, like, you don't ever not offer me a part. She's like, I have a mortgage to pay. I need groceries. I've got bills. She's like, I'll take a part because I need a new roof. I'll take a part because I think it's like silly and I just want to do it. She's like, never, don't offer me a part. So I'm like, that's how I wonder how like these people end up in these crazy movies that you would never think with their reputation that they would end up in. So I always wonder that when I see those kind of
If
things.
Steve ever remakes Hawk the Slayer, we'll have to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah. If I ever make a movie, I'm fucking calling Adrienne Barbeau. I mean, hello.
I mean, I think that was like Kevin Bacon's like whole thing for years. It was just like, yeah, I'm here to earn cash. I can dig that.
I mean,
What was that quote? It was Michael Caine from Jaws: The Revenge, and somebody asked him about the movie, and he's like, I hear the movie's awful, but the house it bought is magnificent.
Oh, Jaws. I don't remember which Jaws movie it was where they like the family was like, "Oh, the shark is just hunting us and our family." I was like, "Then stop living in fucking beach towns." Like, what? There's an easy solution to get away from a great white shark that is personally hunting you and your family members. Don't go out on the water, move inland. Ohio is lovely this time of year and there's no great white sharks.
if Jaws 3 had been about the family in Ohio with the great white shark still stalking
And it
them,
would have been
it
good.
would have fucking amazing.
Arizona, they walk outside, there's just a dead shark on the lawn. Like, yeah, that'll teach you.
Hey, Bob, anybody notice that weird tanker truck that keeps parking near our home? Gigantic, filled with salt water, splashing about.
Oh, totally. Yep.
Oh, I feel we need to make this movie.
I feel like Sharknado has already kind of made that movie.
It's like 5 times.
Yes. And I watch every single one religiously. Because why not? Sci-Fi Channel, I feel like they're up in their game with the creature features. I mean, Sharknado and then like Lavalantula and need I go on? I mean, they're trying and they're not trying to like win an Oscar, so I appreciate the effort.
I mean, no, I'm the same way. I mean, the Asylum makes most of those shit movies, and I've often said to myself, I'm like, I would love to actually like sit down and do a screenplay for a legit good movie, but I also would have no problem sitting down if the Asylum called me up and be like, Rick, we need you to do Dr. Sharkle and Mr. Hyde versus Sherlock Holmes. I'm there,
totally
dude.
down with that. I don't think I'd want to do the good movie. I'd only want to do the bad movie. I mean, yeah, that's my only chance to be like a B movie queen would be writing a ridiculous movie. I would totally do it.
Feels like in the age of streaming, it's pretty viable.
Especially like with the Netflixes and Amazons of the world out there.
Yeah.
Because
oh, speaking of dead and spooky, no more Quibi. Force some out. The failure that literally everyone saw coming.
And it's like one of those failures that you can kind of smile at because they poured so much money into it, kind of saying, this is the future of entertainment. And even as they were pouring the money into it, everybody was like, no, not really.
Well, then I was reading that part of the reason Quibi was using specifically 11 minutes bits was to get around specific union rules and regulations so that they could get away with paying people less than they would have to at full production. So an extra double
Pretty
fuck you
shitty.
to Quibi. So nothing to miss. Piss on its grave. Fuck them.
For those in the audience who are unfamiliar with what Quibi is,
Honestly, Bob, that's probably most of them. Imagine if you could.
Why it's dead.
Yeah, imagine if you could watch something that was a movie or a show, but only for 11 minutes at a time, and then you had to get out and go click on something mid-episode or mid-movie. Does that sound appealing?
no.
No, it does not.
Well, there is good 11-minute television. Doesn't Comedy Central do like micro television, like Your Pretty Face and all that is 11 minutes? That's totally worthwhile.
Oh
but
yeah, there's tons of good stuff. And what's nuts is like there were
it's not on Quibi.
there were short content creators like Felicia Day posting about how they couldn't get a pitch at Quibi because they didn't have enough experience in short form content.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
Nope, it is. It's just like, wow, that is extra strength dumb.
I feel like that's secret code for we don't want to pay you. But you know, exposure dollars. You can always work for exposure dollars. I'm sure you guys have had a lot of wonderful experience with exposure dollars.
Yeah. And the ever popular, hey, I have $1 million idea. I just need you to write it.
That's always a fun. I mean, there is obviously not in those contexts, but there is something to be said for the necessity of getting a name out there and stuff. I mean, part of A&D is us letting fans of our stuff know that there are other authors in this genre that they might enjoy, such as Rick Gualtieri, Robert Bevan, Steve Wetherill, and DM Guay.
Aw, look at you with your cute little plug. That was so sweet.
And in fact,
Y'all are too nice to me.
well, I was gonna say if you wanted to plug some
You
of your
just felt
specific
sorry for
books
me and my Vampire Hookers VHS tape. You don't want to leave me alone tonight.
I was trying to set you up for transition. If you would like to plug any books, projects, stuff you've been working on, etc.
Well, my current series is 24/7 Demon Mart. As I mentioned before, I did have a new release this week, which was the creature feature Critters from the Pooh Lagoon. So you can read that at any time after book 1, which is The Graveyard Shift. And all of it is based on my time working alone at the Graveyard Shift at a convenience store. Only, of course, funnier and with more monsters. So that's me. I'm relatively new to the genre, joining all of you wonderful fellas. So I don't have the huge backlist, including Kraken Hunters. Is that what you're working on, Rick?
At this point.
But I'm working on it, writing more books. So lots more horror comedy to come.
So where can our listeners find you if
My website is DM Gay, and it's GUAY. That was a fun name to grow up with. So dmgay.com. I'm also on Amazon. I do have one audiobook on Audible, and it's the first 2 novels, Graveyard Shift and Monster Burger, as well as the Christmas special, Hell for the Holidays, and it is narrated by the amazing Todd Haberkorn, who is one of my favorite anime actors. So I was super amped when he signed on for the project. So
That's super cool.
yeah.
oh my gosh, yes, I was over the moon. So
We all do audio, and just find the narrator, the perfect narrator that you love is just wonderful.
Oh yeah.
well, yeah, it's very strange. Like, I don't know how you felt the first time you heard somebody else like saying the things that you wrote that were like your crazy things in your head, like saying it out loud, like and acting it out. It's a very surreal experience. So yeah, I don't know how that worked out for you guys, but it was very weird for me. So, but it turned out
Especially when
great.
they do it better than me.
It does feel strange to hear people say what often feels like my silly words with treating it with gravity and like seriousness and like production integrity, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah. And of course, my mom listened to part of it and she's like, you know, these books are just like, you stole all of our family jokes. I'm like, yep. Like, now the world is in on all of our family jokes. She's like, okay, as long as you know, I'm stealing our jokes. It's like, yes, but our jokes,
Say write what you know.
I know, our jokes sound so much better with like a real actor saying them.
You go back and be like, it's like, why couldn't you have this delivery, Mom?
Oh, do you get this thing? Like, some of my friends, God bless them, they like are dying to like be characters. So I'm like, they're like, you have to put me in your book. And then they have a vision for what like they want to be. Like my friend Kyle, who is probably not listening, but maybe. he really wants to be in this. And the guy in real life is like, he's like 6'5" and like 3 bills. And I mean, he's a big dude, big voice, big talker. And he's like, oh, I'm going to be like an ogre. Like he plays like 40K, Warhammer and all that. So he's got these elaborate like storylines of like these mythical creatures that he wants to be in the book. Cause he's like, you got to put me in. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be like a giant ogre. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm going to put you in there, but he doesn't know it. But he's going to be a hamster. He's going to be a werewolf hamster. Like coming up, I'm like, you're gonna be Kyle the werewolf hamster. Sorry, you asked for it, you know.
Your friends be like, you named this character after me. No, you have a common name. I just needed a name for the character. And even if I do put my friends in there, I basically tell them I don't, because I like that plausible, I don't want to get sued deniability.
So nobody's begged like, you have to make me a vampire, and you know.
I don't have friends.
You know, that does make it easier.
I pretty actively tell people that I don't base things on people in my life, and when new people enter my life, they get that spiel, because it's like, you all can read my books, and sometimes I write about awkward situations, and I just don't want to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great. You move in next door to Drew, you go like knock on the door. Hi, I'm so I won't put you in my book. Fuck you.
Listen, characters are flawed. You understand me? So if you go in the book, it means you gotta be fucked up. Bring me smokes.
If you bring a friend to a con or something, and a fan comes up and you introduce them, and oh, were you the rapist?
Oh, I feel like this would just be a stickier situation if we were like writing erotica. Then it's like, oh yeah, that's not like.
I gotta have a pen name. No, I'm not joking.
Pay those bills, make that money.
Oh no, I make no money. I make no money from that pen name.
Rick, do you want to sneak a plug?
Yeah, the erotica, like people are making money hand over fist, like. And then there's like the comedy erotica, like that Chuck Tingle guy. Oh my God, like I signed up for his new releases just because I need the laugh like in my inbox like every day. Like he wrote like an erotic porno that the new release was this week, and it was like based on the fly on Mike Pence's head in the debate. And I was like, fuck yeah, Chuck Tingle.
Yeah, I don't know how he turns and burns that fast. The man has found his market.
Oh, they're only like 10 or 15 page books. I mean, they're not like, War and Peace here. Okay.
They're like 4,000 words or something.
Okay. Well, that's more manageable.
But they're hilarious. So.
Yeah, I got to say, I've in releasing this novella series I've been putting out, I've been granting a newfound appreciation for just shorter fiction is so much easier to edit and get out there. Because you mentioned Kraken Hunters earlier. Kraken Hunters is 140,000 words, which for Drew is like a short story. But for me, it's pretty long. And yeah, it just takes forever to edit.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild doing a Shingles, which is our novella series that are around like 20,000 words a piece. Like doing that in like a month, as compared to, I've been working on a 330,000 word one that's, still going through edits and months of edits because it has to, because it's a
330,000 words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
You're
my
talking
longest.
the hard phase.
Like, is that like multiple books and that's the total word count?
No,
or is that like
one book. It's the second book in a series. Not my longest by a long shot.
Oh my God. Like I couldn't even barf that. I can't, I don't have that many words in me. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'd always write it about the same, no matter what I set out to write. It always ends up being either 40,000 or 75. So, and the 40,000 end up as novellas and the 75 end up as the main.
You should see when Drew comes to a convention and he brings like, books to like sign. And by books, I mean, he'll pack one into his luggage and that'll be like over the weight limit for what he can bring on the plane.
Oh my God, can you even get a paperback printed that's like that?
You can, that one. My longest book is close to 450,000, and that one cannot have a paperback. Sometimes people ask me why there's no paperback for Superpowered Year 4. There physically is not a printing available to me at that size. I barely got it in the hardback. I had to tweak margin.
My mind is blown. Like I can't even.
Yeah, how long it took to write?
Like I wrote 400,000 words this year, and that's like 4 things for me. So
yeah,
how long does that take? It's impossible. And then the editing don't your eyes cross like doing that much?
It took a while. It was a web serial first, and so it kind of got built brick by brick. And then by the time I was going, I had a bit of a running start. But I mean, it truthfully, yeah, it takes a while to write, and it takes, like the one going through right now. It's taking a long time to edit, and it's just sort of, you have to be okay with a book really moving slowly through your process to get that, gigantic tome at the end.
Well, tell me more about the shingles thing, because I noticed that a couple of shingles were showing up like in my also bots, and then I clicked on it and realized it was all of you guys. Now that I know that you're all connected through this whole Discord thing, I was like, oh. So, yeah, is it like episodes and you guys do each do one, or like how does that work?
Bob, would you
Because
like
I've seen it, but I'm not quite sure how they're all connected.
Yeah, Shingles, they're standalone comedy horror stories that what was it? Drew was we were all chatting privately in our group, and something came up, and Drew was saying, "I wonder if the Goosebumps model could work. Just a marketing model where you write these 20,000 word short stories, and you pump them out month after month." And that triggered something in me. I said, let's go a step beyond. What if we just did a Goosebumps kind of parody thing where it'd just be, horror, but also horrible, like our kind of horrible, or mine at least. And so, yeah, I started crawling around with this idea, the ghost of Hooker Alley, and then yeah, the other guys took off with their own shit, and there you go.
And how did all of you meet? Like, did you guys meet somewhere in real life before all of this
Similar
happened
story.
online, or
Really similar story.
you guys swapping Halloween candy? Like,
No, it was just online, and Drew and I were Facebook friends, and Drew said something about his D&D group, and I was in Korea at the time, and I said, "Oh man, I'm just jealous that," I commented on his Facebook post, "I'm just jealous that you got a D&D group." And then we got to talking, and what if we could play online? There's a lot of options nowadays, and hey, we could even record it and podcast it.
Something more novel 5 years ago when we started it.
and how did Rick get
We
in with y'all?
We started reaching out to, when we decided to do the recording bit. We were like, well, we need to find a thing that sort of sets it, themes it, etc. And since we were both comedic fantasy authors, it was the obvious transition to a game in which all the players are authors. And so we started reaching out to folks we knew, and that was how Rick and John and Steve and Joe and everybody just eventually kind of came into the fold.
Awesome.
Like no lives who didn't say no.
Oh yeah, Shingles is very much Bob's baby. He has shepherded it and filled in when the rest of us have fallen short on time and whatnot, and he has really taken the lead on that. And they are a lot of fun to write. I do the big books, but the small ones, like getting to do little short stories, I think of it as writing a movie as opposed to a TV show. And like, so doing that compact run through storyline is really fun. And it's neat. It's kind of challenged me because I'm not used to writing short fiction, so it's been a good breaking outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah, for me, it's like a chance to write stories that I'm not going to write otherwise. It's kind of like an asshole version of speculative fiction.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, it's a way for me to stretch some of my other comedy muscles that I don't necessarily do in the Caverns and Creatures series. It's a nice way to vent. You got that creative energy that doesn't fit with what you're currently working on, but it can go somewhere.
That's a very good way to put it.
Shingles.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to work on your wacky shit. You want to write about jerking off into pumpkins or magician action heroes.
I was just thinking that. It's like you read my mind. Yeah.
Well, you can
Halloween season.
Read Bob's book.
A little harder for me though.
No, there's different shaped gourds.
Yes. Well, then we get into semantics, like into versus onto. Yeah. Way inappropriate.
Over the course of the
They
story.
can still animate
But I
pumpkins.
mean, yeah, the thing with Shingles is, for the most part, I mean, occasionally we'll reach out to each other and be like, guys, is this like too much or so? But for the most part, it's kind of like an anything goes series.
Mhm.
There are very few depths we will not plumb.
Yeah, I feel you there.
So it's kind of freeing to write one, because it's like, normally we each have our genres and stuff, and we write a certain thing, and Shingles is a kind of way to just be like, fuck that all. I'm just writing a story I have an idea on.
Yeah, it sort of takes you back to when you're starting out and there's not necessarily stakes or expectations on a release. It's just, here's some wacky bullshit. Tell me, let's see how you like it.
Yeah, do you guys ever have that moment, like, I spent so much time, like, alone typing, like, laughing at my own jokes. I was like, "What if I'm just, like, slowly going mad and, like, this actually isn't funny, I'm just, like, going insane?" And then you, like, put it out there and you're like, "Please think I'm funny because I'm just alone so much, like, laughing at myself, like, I need external laughing validation from the public."
Yeah, pretty much every release, yeah.
Kind of.
Alright, that makes me feel a little better. I'm not the only one.
I kind of get that, but it's more like, this is funny, but are other people good enough to get it? And usually the answer is no. They don't measure up. With the Shingles.
You are not worthy of my comedy.
There you go. That's a better way to say it. Pearls before swine.
I don't think I've ever written a book that I wasn't sure would end my career at the midway point. I'm just, by the middle of it, I'm just always like, oh, this is fucking garbage. I might as well hang up my shoes now, and etc.
Mhm.
But then you finish and you refine and you have a good product. That's why learning to power through the doubt is very important.
Oh yeah. I mean, and sometimes you just have to realize that, okay, I'm so deep and I'm so close to this story that obviously I can't see anything other than garbage words.
Totally. I
That is,
usually, like, hand it off, like, when it's finished, like, before I hit publish, like, hand it off to someone, and then, like, they're, like, reading it on the Kindle, like, in the house, and I'm, like, secret stalking, like, poking my head out, like, from behind the curtain, like, "Are they laughing? What part are they on? Why aren't they laughing? Oh god, are they laughing? What are they laughing at?" Yeah, so I go a little bit
You know what I
mental.
find is funny is doubting people. Like I'll send every book I have out for beta reading, and I know I've gotten a couple back where somebody would be like, "Oh, this is the best book you've written yet," and instead of like being like thanks, I'll be like, "So what's wrong with you that you think that?" Yeah, it's a weird business.
Well, we can always console ourselves with a late night viewing of Chopping Mall. So glad you guys watched that. It's like a classic. It's like the 80s mall classic.
I just watched it twice for some of us. Actually, I've watched it many a time in my personal hours.
Oh yeah, it's like that whole like 80s horror robot gone wrong, like,
It-
like RoboCop, but with Valley Girls, like,
Oh,
what's not to love?
it's so perfectly 80s, encapsulatingly bad in so many like aspects. It feels like somebody made it last year as a parody and did a really good job. Like Dude Bro Party Massacre, but even more.
Mm, yeah. As I mentioned before, I'm like rewatching all the original Universal monsters, and I don't know if you've actually seen the original Invisible Man, but I hadn't seen it in like probably like 20 years, and I put it in the other day because, bored and desperate. And oh my God, like it's nuts. Like it's probably like the one Universal monster movie where the monster isn't like a sympathetic character, like, and he's just laughing like a maniac constantly. And every woman character in that movie is like this, like dialed up to 11 parody of like ridiculousness and hysteria. It's it's just unbelievable. But I mentioned that because, I just got the new Invisible Man and I have not watched it yet, but I was like, well, thank God that people can still take these concepts and like turn that total like turd. I know people are going to fight me on it because they love that original, Invisible Man, but I do not like that. That's like the one Universal monster movie I do not like, but it's like so awesome that is it Blumhouse or whatever is taking these things and like kind of giving them new life with like new spins. It's just like totally warms my heart.
Well, but at the same time, with an Invisible Man, there's really only so many places you can go. It's like, okay, invisibility equals you're an asshole.
That is true. I don't know. If I were invisible, I suspect I would not be an asshole. I don't know what I would do though. But I can't really envision that I'd magically become criminal or murderous, because that's just like totally not my jam.
This time of year, I'm like, it would suck to be invisible because it's like 40, 50 degrees out. I don't want to go out there bare ass.
You do an Invisible Man 2020 movie where you discover invisibility, but it's also a pandemic and quarantine, so you're just invisible around the house.
Yep. Yeah, you could make that movie. It'd last about 5 minutes and it would definitely be a hit. Kind of like Godzilla meets Bambi.
Damn, if only Quibi were still here, it would have been perfect.
We wouldn't even make 11 minutes, y'all. Like 5 minutes. That done and done. You're just like the Invisible Man crunching in a beanbag. That's like the scene.
The vacuum running back and forth.
Yeah.
Netflix.
An empty vacuum. See, this movie is writing itself. There you go.
That ship has sailed. All right.
Well, thank you all for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for joining us.
We appreciate having you on and the wonderful discussion of writing and Halloween and the spooky season. We are big fans of it here. If Rick hasn't told you, we do a whole tournament around like scary movies. We love Halloween.
What is this tournament around scary movies? I'm intrigued.
I
mean, like movies section that I'm looking at right here.
I think it's something we are definitely going to have you on at some point. It's called the Tournament of Terror, where we have guests bring their scary movie of choice for us to watch and talk over.
Does it have to be scary or just horror genre?
Horror genre. We had the Halloween tree last year, so it's a pretty open, like as long as you can argue it as a reasonable watch on a Halloween season, it's pretty go.
Okay.
We also do a monthly taping of At the Movies. And though the rest of the year isn't necessarily horror, it's all bad.
Oh, God bless the bad movie makers, bringing joy to all of us.
It's a victimless crime.
All right, folks. Well, that is going to do us for this episode of Side Quest. Be sure to check out DMA on Amazon, Audible, and her website, and pick up some of those amazing books like the 24-Hour Demon March series. That sounds like a pretty cool concept. Anything else to add?
No, just thanks so much, guys. He's awesome.
All right. We'll catch you next time, folks. Bye.
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 Bye.